Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to America once again. We're going to the state of Wisconsin for what I believe is my second review, and this time we're going to a fairly small place right in the centre of the state. So we're going to do my first review from Oso Brewing, and we're having a taste of their Hop Whoopin today, which is an IPA. It doesn't actually say on the bottle what the ABV of this one is, but on the website and on Untappd and Rate Beer and things it says it's a 7% one. It's got 95 IBUs though, so it will be a bit of a hoppy beast I think. So really looking forward to this one. I got 94 overall on Rate Beer, and I think it was 3.9 something that it had on Untappd when I checked out as well. So it should be a really nice beer, and like I always say, it is cool to try to think different things from different parts of the States, because there's a stupid number of breweries over there these days and it's really hard to keep up with them. So yeah, a shout out as well to Balder and Karsten at Kiosk in Copenhagen who recommended me this one. They always recommend some good stuff, so if you find yourself in Copenhagen, that's a beer shop I really recommend you check out. I'll put the link to them in the description below. But as always, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Oso Brewing. This is the very first time I'm trying one of their beers. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, whatever it is you're interested in. There are playlists there as well for the beers from different countries. There is one for all the American beers I've reviewed. That's constantly being added to, of course. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review, especially if you're watching over in the States, because I know there's a lot of breweries that we just don't hear of over here, and some of them can be really difficult to get a hold of. But it's always great to hear from you guys, and the support you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Oso Brewing then. So Oso Brewing was founded by Mark Butera and his wife Katina back in 2007. So they had their first child together at a very young age, and they moved to Stevens Point in Wisconsin when they were only 19. So Mark studied mechanical design while Katina studied accounting, and both worked in their respective fields for a good few years, and they moved to Tennessee for a brief period before returning home because they were homesick basically. They really have just a real love for the state of Wisconsin. But during university, Mark had actually lived next door to Mike Champion, who was the president of the Focal Point Brewing Club, and it was there that he really just fell in love with the idea of brewing, and of course he would have the technical expertise from his university degree. But while they were working, they founded Point Brew Supply in 2003, which grew really fast, and then they had to move it to Plover in 2007, which was when they started the Oso Brewing Company, and this brewery as well has grown very rapidly ever since. So they're about 10 years old now actually, but the current brewery is in Village Park, but in late 2016 they purchased some land in a different part of Plover to build their new brewery. They estimate that this new brewery will have around 40,000 square feet, and it will also have a tap room, and it will have the new facility for the home brewing supply store as well. So exciting times ahead for this brewery. They have been around for a little while, and like I said, it is cool to find something slightly different compared to what we're used to over here in Europe. Kiosk, of course, is a really good shop for finding some of these beers in America that are quite unusual for us, I would say, over here. But yeah, really interesting brewery. They do have a core range of beers. There was about 8 beers in that when I checked it out on the website, and they did have a kind of they did have some seasonals, and they also had some kind of special edition beers as well. So as I always say, if you want to read more about the brewery, you can check out the brewery website in the description below. But yeah, that's all I have to tell you about the brewery just now. I'll just let you have a quick look at the artwork again. So this one is actually quite nicely presented. I did find it a little bit strange that it didn't say the IBU in this bottle at all, as far as I could see. There's the Oso bottle cap on this one. I'm not sure actually if that's meant to be the shape of Wisconsin that's on the top of that, if I'm remembering my geography correctly. Of course you have Michigan, Illinois, and all of these kind of states around there. But yeah, nicely presented beer. There you can see the import sticker on it there. So without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. Like I said, as far as I know, it's 7% ABV, but it's an IPA with 95 IBUs, so it will be a little bit of a beast. So yeah, nice smoky opening on this one, and we'll get it out and into the glass. And I'll tell you right away, when you open this up, you do smell a lot of these kind of nice lighter tropical fruity notes. It's kind of, I guess, a stone fruity sort of thing you're getting from this one. Like there's a little bit of a kind of peachy sort of apricot-y note coming off this one just as you open it up. But it's really light in colour actually. So from this one, as you can see, it's poured an almost kind of hazy golden straw colour. It's not got that much of an amber to it at all. It really is more like just a kind of pale golden straw colour, this one. It's really quite interesting. That's maybe one of the lighter IPAs that I've come across in all the time that I've done the channel for you, but you can see this one has a solid finger of a creamy, frothy white head. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass there, a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head. You can see if I put my fingers behind the glass, the beer is pretty opaque. But yeah, it looks really nice, and it's just a little bit light in colour compared to what I'm used to for an IPA, but colour doesn't matter so much as long as it tastes good. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then before we try this one. Ooh, that smells really nice actually. Yeah, the hoppy notes that you're getting out of this one, to me it's leaning more towards these kind of lighter sort of tropical fruits. There's a little bit of orange in there. I think there's maybe a little bit of mosaic in here. From what I understand, this beer was originally a special edition. I think they released it back in 2010, and they've done a lot of different versions of it. Like, they've done some where they've added fruit to it, they've done lots of ones with different hops, but from what I understand, this regular edition does have quite a few different hops in it. It doesn't say on the website, of course, exactly what hops and things they're using. But yeah, I mean, underneath that you can smell a little bit of the sort of biscuity and kind of caramelly aromas. You can pick that out from the malt base. There's a little bit of that bready character in there too, and you can pick up the kind of grassy and floral aspect of the hops too, but the biggest complexity is coming out from these fruits. For me, there is a little bit of an apricot-y thing going on with this one. Maybe a little bit of mango, but it's not quite gooseberry that's coming out of this one. It's these lighter notes that you would kind of maybe associate with the likes of mosaic or citra or something like that. It's maybe got a little bit of a kind of lemon limey sort of thing in there, but I think definitely some apricots. I think there's a good bit of orange, maybe probably tangerine more than orange, to be quite frank. But yeah, there's a good citrusy note to this one, and these lighter kind of juicier tropical fruits. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time and mull over the aroma before you actually taste the beer. As I always say with whiskey and sake and craft beer and stuff, that is half the experience. Just enjoy the aroma and try and pick up a few things, because it can make for interesting comparisons. But yeah, nice. It's the orange and the tangerine starting to come out of this one more as my nose kind of adjusts to the beer. But it's really quite a nice one, this, in terms of aroma. So yeah, let's get stuck into this one then. So this is the Hop Whoopin, a 7% IPA, as far as I know, from Oso Brewing in Plover, Wisconsin. Slàinte, ska. Yeah, that's a nice beer, this one. It's really, the first thing I'm noticing about this is that it's really quite easy drinking. It does have a good bit of bitterness to it, and it's actually, in comparison with the aroma, the flavour on this one is it's a lot kind of darker and stronger, if you like, in terms of the hoppiness. There's a lot of dark kind of floral aromaticity to this one. There's a little bit of piney resin in there as well, and almost a little bit of kind of spicy character as well. I do wonder if there's a little bit of tomahawk or something in there, because it's definitely got a little bit of that spicy floral aromaticity to it. So yeah, as I always say, the hops come out on the edge of your tongue. So there's a bit of earthiness in the back corner of the palate. As you come further forward, you can feel the sort of pine resins just underpinning the hoppy elements of the beer. So I suspect there's a wee bit of Chinook in there maybe, or maybe even Columbus. But on top of that, you get a little bit of that kind of spicy floral aromaticity that I was talking about. There's maybe, as the flavour progresses, maybe there's a little touch of kind of herbal flavour in there as well, which is quite interesting. Around the very front curve of your palate though, it's definitely a little bit lighter and a little bit grassy. The fruity side of this one's quite interesting as well. As I always say, the fruity side of the beer comes out in just that little oily bubble behind the very front curve of your palate. That's where you get all these nice little fruity esters. And it's definitely, there's a big grapefruity presence to this one. That just slightly darker flavour that you get from grapefruit in this just kind of underpins it. Yeah, the grapefruit really is dominating. I mean, you've seen how long it was since I took a sip of this beer. The grapefruit is just kind of holding there, and it's mixing with these kind of slightly spicy floral aromatic notes and that piney resin. I do suspect heavily that there is some Chinook in here. And there's definitely got to be, there's something else as well. Maybe, don't quite know about Columbus, I suspect maybe Tomahawk or something, just for that kind of spicy character that the beer gives you. But yeah, it's a nice one, this. I do like this. It's definitely, if you enjoy a big hoppy, bitter, kind of spicy floral and pine resin IPA, this one's going to be right up your street. If you like, to me, this one kind of strikes me as a little bit more of a kind of old school IPA. They said this one was introduced in 2010, and on the basis of the flavours you're getting in this one, I can see that, and it's maybe just the hop blend and stuff they're using, but I always love going back to these IPAs that are, to me it's just a little bit nostalgic, if you like, and this one in that sense kind of hits the spot for me. But yeah, the malt base on this one is kind of fairly simple, so you've got the pale malt in there, you can feel that just kind of being the base of the beer. On top of that, you get a little bit, to me it's coming across as a kind of biscuity sweetness. There is a little bit of a slightly caramelly, biscuity sort of thing, and you can feel the sweetness of that right in the middle of your tongue, and it just sweetens up a little bit more as you progress through the flavour of the beer. But really the flavour's dominated by those kind of dark grapefruity notes and that spicy floral kind of almost pine resin-y character. So further and further into the beer, you do, when you get further into the aftertaste, you can pick up a little bit of that kind of lighter kind of tropical fruit note that I was talking about. And to me, I'm not getting the oranges in this one that I was picking up in the aroma. I'm not getting too much of that. There may be a tiny little bit of an almost kind of lighter tangerine. It's not the strong orange citrus that I was picking up, but I think there's a little bit of a kind of lemon limey thing and almost a kind of gooseberry note as well. Yeah, if you just pay attention right behind the front curve of your palate, that's where you'll get all these slightly lighter tropical fruit notes. I think there's maybe just, it's not quite apricot-y. It's not quite got the sharpness of peach either. I think it's like a little kind of gooseberry or almost sort of lemon limey kind of thing. It's really interesting just how this little part of the flavour comes out, because there's a lot of complexity to that. There's a lot of different fruits in there, and you might pick them up slightly differently than me, of course. But it's really nice. I mean, the main point to make about this beer, to me, it comes across as a bit of an old school IPA. It's got that nice big floral, grapefruity and kind of piney resin bitterness to it. So if that's up your street, you will certainly enjoy this one. The other hop I think that they maybe have in this is some Tomahawk, just because of the spicy floral notes. But to me it's quite nice. There might be a little bit of passion fruit or something in this one too. You can just feel a little bit of a lighter tropical fruit on top of the grapefruit that's underpinning the fruits in there as well. There's a good bit of complexity to the fruitiness in this beer, but I mean overall it's really quite a nice one. This, I recommend that you try it, particularly if you like things like hardcore IPA from Brewdog. This one's a little bit lighter than that, of course, but if you like these big grapefruity pine resinous IPAs, this one really is going to be right up your street. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one for me is kind of mid-bodied. The carbonation's quite light. It does have a little bit of a prickle to it, and that helps bring out these kind of spicy floral pine resin sort of things. It's probably more of an oily mouthfeel to this one, I would say. Yeah, definitely it's kind of an oily mouthfeel to this one. There's a good hoppy bitterness, like I said, but when it's 95 IBUs, that's what you'd expect. The fruity character in this one for me is quite dark. It's the grapefruit that dominates it. There is a little bit of juiciness later on, and there's a wee bit of sweetness from the malt as well, but really the mouthfeel is dominated by the hops, which is what you'd expect for a 95 IBU beer. But overall, it's a really nice beer. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. This one for me, I would really recommend for people who enjoy these kind of old school IPAs. If I tried this back in 2010, this would have been one of the ones where I'd be like, yeah, this is probably one of the best IPAs that you can get at the moment. like it was very, very good quality, and if you like that kind of nostalgic feel back from 2010, this is a beer that I think you are going to enjoy. It's a nice kind of classic grapefruit, pine resin and spicy floral sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, I can see why it has the rating it has on Rate Beer. For me, it probably kind of deserves that. The sort of 4 out of 5 that it has on Untappd as well, I think is very fair as well. I mean, it's a good beer, there's no question of that. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. It's a nice kind of old school IPA for me. So yeah, this one was the Hop Whoopin from Also Brewing Company in Plover, Wisconsin. I really hope I get to try some of their other beers. I want to try one of their stouts or something like that. But this is a brewery that has quite a good reputation, and we're starting to see them a little bit more often here in Europe. So hopefully I can try a few more of their beers. But I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. As always, please let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. It's always great to hear from you guys, like I said. So until the next time, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Please like, subscribe, share, check out all the usual social media, but most importantly, support your local craft breweries and try some of these OSO beers. On the basis of this one, it's made me curious enough to try some of their other things. So hopefully I can catch you very soon with another OSO Brewing beer review. Until the next time, it's Landed just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Hop Whoopin from OSO Brewing Company in Plover, Wisconsin, over in America. Cheers.